Hello, everybody. Welcome back with the full crew to Links with Friends.
We've been up to no good.
Yes, it's September 23rd, and we're doing government and security stories for your week.
I promised everybody amazing hiking stories.
I went on a 150-mile hike. I did all of the AT in Vermont, and it was really fun. I had a really good time.
The AT.
Well, Appalachian Trail.
Yeah,
okay,
like
there you go. Sorry. No, I guess, yeah. I forget our audience, mostly technical, probably not a ton of hikers, the Appalachian Trail.
And not all Americans.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know what you said last week, but a lot of people gave us money. More than just our subs. Firstly, thank you for subbing on Patreon and Floatplane. That is amazing. That is what keeps us going. But also, like, monetarily, so we can pay people to do stuff. But also, on YouTube, there are some that I'm trying desperately to get to
find, and they've changed the UI again, so good luck.
It's here somewhere. See, it should be like you just hit the $sign, but it's like, no. It's like, here's all the other ways you should squeeze money out of your thing, and it's like, I don't want that. I just want the list. So anyway, thank you for Henry Case Neuromancer and Mike *001 or 0001 actually. Fallen Gardens. Is that like a Fallen Gong reference?
I don't think they'll be allowed to give us money.
User 5622 there at GM. Osfoids. Dummy Turpop AMD. That's in a foreign currency. I don't know how much that is, but it seems like a lot. Thank you.
What's the currency?
RON.
RON.
What even is that?
Republic of something?
Everything else is just porn bots and warnings about something, so it's probably fine.
Are the porn bots giving us money?
Maybe I'm not so mad about the porn bots anymore.
No, but they show up. It's weird. It's really weird.
The weirdest thing is when, like, a comment seems normal, has a normal username, and then it changes, like, afterward.
They have conversations with themselves. It's really interesting. They want to talk about their cryptocurrency and then how some named individual that's available on WhatsApp has helped them recover their crypto wallet or whatever.
All the responses are like, oh my God, he helped me too.
Yeah.
That's
like,
incredible.
What are the odds?
Yeah, the channel record is 108 replies, which I will go through and dutifully mark each one of them as spam.
They probably forgot to set the threshold on the AI.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. I did riz him a little bit and hit him with a little reverse psychology. Super successful. All right. Well, let's get into the government stuff. And we learned about the airline records being sold, and we weren't sure exactly what the scope of it is. Well, guess what? Now we know, and it's terrifying.
Airline data broker selling 5 billion passenger records to the U.S. government. Yeah, we... Pepperidge Farm remembers. Remember, we warned you.
This is a great article because they walk you through the history of this. It started back in the turn of the century and was defeated time and time again. And they just kept creeping it back in there. And here we are, 5 billion. It works. The slow game always works.
They, how, like, all right, here's your engagement challenge, chat. How do people as stubborn as us turn our stubbornness toward resisting that at every step of the way? Like, you know,
I mean, I think most people do, like, resist it or don't like it, but, like, you have to constantly keep it in people's minds.
Yeah. Like,
That's what's hard.
How do we build a foundation that is actually for the public good to protect it and, like, structure it so that it will be protected from corruption?
That's not the challenge. The challenge is building that and then not having that get co-opted by the same forces, which has happened
countless times,
every time throughout history. And those forces will destroy everything that we like in the name of, security. They will create outrage. Well, I don't know if they created it, but and then they will solve those problems by restricting our freedoms. Get ready for that to come to your favorite platforms.
Steam, Discord, and Twitch execs called to testify before Congress over radicalization of users.
I was baffled by Steam being in this list.
Valve is going to go talk. It's because I remember the first lie about Steam games was that terrorists were communicating via shooting the wall in bullets. And it's just like, This is a level of unhinged that is just...
I think about that all the time. Like, anytime I'm playing a game and, like, the bullets leave a mark on the wall, I'm like, oh, I could be planning terrorism right now.
You also wonder, it's like, did they actually add stuff in the algorithm to randomize the bullet display that other players see?
Probably not.
That's
That would
definitely,
take away
because you
the
can
accuracy.
and you can do sprays in that game, too. So, like, you could put anything in a spray.
I remember the freewheeling days when the sprays, and when I played Counter-Strike, which was God knows how long ago, like the earliest versions, the nude sprays. They would have those.
Those were the days, weren't they?
Mine is Ben Affleck smoking.
You know, I think that's still a thing in Roblox, but they don't like to talk about that.
They
Well,
let you
Roblox,
spray in Roblox?
Roblox doesn't want to talk about anything that's going on that platform. Seems like a lot of no good. We had somebody in the Twitch chat who was clearly an adult and was like, yeah, I like Roblox. And it's like, oh, you can't. You just can't do it.
I mean, I'm sure that the game is fun on its own, but it's like, it's diminished a little knowing you're playing with like 7-year-olds.
We played it like once or twice, and remember there was somebody that was really excited to have us and none of us, it just didn't click.
We never played Roblox.
I don't think we played
No,
Roblox.
you're thinking of something else.
Uh,
Because Roblox, you have to have a subscription, right?
I think so. I remember looking at Roblox because I was like, maybe I'd be interested in it. I like Minecraft. And then I looked at the website, didn't understand it, and then saw a section for parents, clicked it, and was like, oh, this is not for me.
And I'm not saying that person is guilty of anything nefarious. Just like in the world somewhere, there's at least one adult male who just genuinely wants to go to child beauty pageants, but you can't.
No, you just can't
You just
do
can't.
it. No.
Retroactively, I do now understand why my mom had such a hard time with me playing board games with grown adult dudes at the library.
Yeah.
It's like, it was fine, but also like...
I could see why, yeah, so that would maybe like throw up some alarms.
She's like, you're 11, they're like 30. And it's like,
It's
fine.
It's probably a fairly low chance. Much higher now. But in those days, probably a fairly low chance. But if you roll the 1,
Yeah.
it's really bad. And we have, Chris and I were just talking about this, like, is the financial world collapsing? Is it not? It seems like some things are good, some things are terrible. The numbers seem terrifying. And maybe we're just going to brush those out of the way. But I kind of agree with this.
Trump renews push to end companies' quarterly reports. Yeah, like you, there's a lot of bad things that have happened in our country economically over the last 50 years to make line go up on a quarterly basis.
Right.
I mean, that mindset might be responsible for the destruction of Intel.
Now, line going up on a biannual basis is not that much better.
Yeah, is that really an improvement? Like,
Well,
maybe
but
a little.
It could be. Now, the argument to the contrary is like the shareholders need more of a say. But do the shareholders need more of a say? Because again, we could argue that is probably what's causing the badness in a lot of this.
Certainly look at privately owned Steam. Would all of the stuff that Steam does, would they have been able to resist the temptation to make a line go up faster if it were publicly owned? And I think the answer is probably no. Well, look at Sears.
Well, they would get rid of the CEO who tried to stop that and then be like, oh, you're not representing the shareholders. So.
Yeah, exactly. And then you could look at Sears where it's like, oh, private equity did all these things. And it's like, yeah, that was bad too.
I mean, we're in a bad spot, but I don't know if it's going to make that much difference. The idea here being, like, I think for Trump is he believes that the tariffs are going to start paying dividends, but it's going to take some pain. And if you can skip over one of those reports, then you can play the long game. And we got to preface this one. This has no traction at all as far as we know. But this goes to show you that at least 6 lawmakers in Michigan, 6, I don't know how many lawmakers Michigan has in total, they think this is a good idea.
New bill aims to block both online and adult content and VPNs, how your VPN could be affected. I would really so we've got the golden cage that we always talk about for surveillance. I would like to have these 6 people surveilled with the fullest extent of whatever exists in the gilded cage that already exists, like the flock cameras, the online surveillance, the whole 9 yards. And just because there's something dark with those people. There has to be.
So they're including manga. I guess we're talking about hentai there, right? Depictions of transgender people. It's probably a little more nuanced than that. And then to say that, no, if you use a VPN at all, And they're not saying if you use a VPN to circumvent this. They're saying you cannot use VPNs.
Yeah, this is also super broad in terms of other definitions. There was something like sexual noises. So like if you're really enjoying your food,
It's
like,
almost,
yeah.
can you imagine when they were sitting around planning this and they were just like trying to dream up any little thing that somebody might do?
It was they specifically don't mention VPNs, but it's like if you circumvent surveillance, the surveillance is put in place for this, and it's like, well, I mean, if you really read into that, that would mean that your ISP has to not send you encrypted websites. Your ISP has to be able to look at your encrypted website. That seems insane.
Well, they would love that because the more inclusive a law is, you don't have to enforce it, but you can if somebody posts something you don't
Selectively,
like.
yeah.
And California is doing a little bit of the opposite. If you are someone who rents in a large building, you might have found that there's a ISP that comes with the building, and you're not allowed to change it because it's all in the infrastructure.
California bill lets renters escape exclusive deals between ISPs and landlords, up to and including the ability to deduct the value of the internet service from the rent if they're not allowed to get another ISP.
I think Ted Cruz is already weighed in on this. He is tireless in his cable law, calls it an anti-affordability bill. But you do still have the option to take it if you want. I guess if not everybody in the building was going to do that, they wouldn't offer them the deal, but I think they actually still would. The FCC was going to do something about this. Of course, that was pre-Carr FCC.
That was one of the great lies in New York City is that the incumbent, I sat in on some of these in New York City, the incumbent providers convinced the local governments in the boroughs, I guess, that it cost more to wire a building than it did to wire a neighborhood, per unit.
But they bring up now wireless.
Yeah.
So you could, if you didn't like what you had in your building, you could just get one of these Fios or whatever. I don't know how good that is in dense cities. But you also got Starlink at this point.
Yeah. It was also an incredible lie that it costs a lot of money to wire a building like that. It doesn't.
Just ring the roof and satellite dishes.
Yeah.
Why not? And Ticketmaster is still under the gun. Just a reminder that Ticketmaster owns both the ticketing platform and the concert venues.
U.S. probing whether Ticketmaster does enough to stop the resale bots, Bloomberg News reports. And after 5 years and millions upon millions of dollars of taxpayer money spent, the conclusion will be, no, Ticketmaster doesn't do enough to stop resale bots.
It's funny because they don't allow Disney to own theaters, but this is okay.
It took a while. And there's a quote in here. We got the Reuters paywall, but there's a great quote from the guy who was defending it, who was from Ticketmaster. And his quote was something like, well, fundamentally, all concert tickets right now are underpriced. They need to go up.
Looks at $500
Yeah.
Taylor Swift tickets.
I guess the demand is overwhelming for some people.
For some, yeah.
That was the thing that always melted my brain is that there are some really famous names that just have a permanent show in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still like $500 a ticket for that. And they're literally performing like 6 nights a week or whatever.
But that only works in Vegas because of the constant churn of people.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do that anywhere else. And no tax on tips. We've entered into that world. And a lot of people, I've heard a lot of online people say that, no, the online tips for like streaming and stuff doesn't count. What?
The U.S. Treasury Department has weighed in. No tax on tips includes digital creators, too.
Now, that is only for tips, not for subscriptions.
Oh.
Yeah.
Everyone deflates at this table a little bit.
So that's kind of weird. It's also capped out, I think, at $25,000 per year.
Yeah, your income has to be below that.
Oh, no, that's your tip income. You can only declare as much as 25. But once you hit 150,000 in income, it also starts to eat away at it. So don't get too successful.
So they do understand taxing the rich.
Can do.
I mean, we're rapidly moving toward 150 not even being the rich anymore. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That's hyperinflation is going to
That's like 3 weeks of groceries. What do you mean?
route that out. And here's a story that we've been talking about throughout the entire life cycle of Links with Friends and all of its formats, because this was from 2012. This man has been going through this.
Megaupload. Oh, no. Megaupload founder Kim Dotcom loses his latest bid to avoid U.S. extradition. And this is kind of wild because all of his business compatriots were all charged domestically and he wasn't. And he's like, but But these are the same crimes. Why are you sending me to the United States, a country I've never been to? That's weird. That doesn't seem like it's consistent with New Zealand law. And the judge is just like, whatever. Which seems weird that there's not equality before the law in New Zealand.
All the other people who were charged have been charged in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like,
how do you explain that? And the judge is like, oh.
I gotta go. I've got a lunch date. See ya.
you look like America's bitch, New Zealand. Come on. That's a bad look. I mean, I know that the people don't have any control over that, but it's a sad day. He is probably guilty of what he did, but does that really merit extradition to another country? He shared some bits. And the Swiss government, boo Swiss government. I thought they were better than this, but they're not.
Swiss government looks to undercut privacy tax, stoking fears of mass surveillance. Yes.
Fears.
There were rumors that certain corporate parties had already been visited by law enforcement and had been told, yes, the surveillance apparatus, not unlike what we saw in the Michigan bill, is coming. It is coming en masse. And it seems organized from where I'm sitting.
Now, last week we learned that Germany and Luxembourg were going to vote against the EU Snoopers Charter. Or no, that's the UK. It's the chat. What do they call it? Something chat. Here's my question to the two of you. What is the adjective for Luxembourg?
Like,
American.
right, so like, yeah, their nationality. Luxembourgian.
That was my guess. It's wrong.
Luxembourg?
See, I don't feel bad now.
Okay, what is it?
Luxemburgers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate in English.
I think it should be changed. My second guess, Luxembros.
Oh, I like that. I like that better than burgers.
Yeah.
Do you know the one for Maine?
Isn't it just Mainers?
Mainers, yeah.
I like Mainers.
It's concise. And we've learned, sit down, hold on to something because it's going to shock you.
The story.
An intelligence agency spied on a journalist illegally. Can you believe it?
Not just the one. MI5 concedes it unlawfully obtained data from former BBC journalists.
This is like 2006 and 2009 were the mentioned in the article.
Yeah, what else is going on? Like, oh, we stopped? No, you didn't.
Yeah. I say I read this whole article waiting to find out, like, okay, were they punished? Was there a fine? Was there anything? And it was just like, no, we did it, and we'll do it again. It's like, oh, okay.
It's literally the Goofy meme.
What happened is they got caught this
Yeah.
one time. They got sloppy one time and used it in court.
Do you remember that happened with Snowden too? Snowden revelations, and somebody sued, and it was like, my data's been hoovered up, and the judge said, well, you can't prove it, so you haven't been harmed. And then something happened, and he was able to prove it, and the judge was like, whatever, don't care.
Rules don't apply to us.
Yeah.
Here's your weekly reminder.
Are we gonna chat? It's seriously like we're gonna equality
Chat, are we
before the
cooked?
law. Like, how hard is it to equality before the law? Like, come on.
And when it comes to enforcing, these government opinions and stuff, think about all the different stories we've talked about this. How much money went into this whole effort? And this is what we get.
Microsoft slips unscathed through EU competition probe after promising to unbundle Microsoft Teams.
Was it a pinky promise or like?
Well, I mean, they're going to do it, but it's not that big a deal, right?
Yeah.
I also am kind of surprised. It's like, okay, we've unbundled Teams, and it's like, well, an unbundled Teams, no one in their right mind would use that unless they were forced to, because it's that bad.
Also, unbundling Teams brought the price down on some of these bundles 50%. Teams is worth 50% of the price, really?
It's got. You know what? I'll not really go to bat. I'll go a little bit to bat for Teams. It has gotten better, but it was crap for a long time.
It takes an obscene amount of resources
It does.
to use. And while I was traveling, I was trying to do stuff, and it was not happy.
And the UK is, they've been kind of behind the curve with the tech stuff because, they created GDPR and all that, all those laws that the tech companies really, really hate. And it seems like the new leadership is taking a different approach and being richly rewarded.
Microsoft, Nvidia, and other tech giants plan over $40 billion of new AI investments in the UK. Fortunately or unfortunately, with the accretion of the value of the US dollar, that's about, $1 billion of investment like 10 years ago.
Look at this breaking news up here. Ted Cruz is not even pretending anymore. It's just whatever the cable companies want, whatever the networks want, Ted Cruz brings to them.
Compares FCC chair car to mafia boss Jimmy Kimmel warnings.
I mean, he might be kind of right in this case. The government has no business doing that, but still, Ted Cruz is all. You can always count on him. And big story out of China. After Nvidia went to the trouble of making them just for China GPU. Like, we're going to do it just for we're going to get past the sanctions. We're going to spend all this money just for you guys. And then what happens?
Nvidia CEO says that he's disappointed after a report that China has banned its AI chips.
Disappointed, but like with the tone of it like coming through his teeth. We're disappointed.
So the RTX 6000D was supposed to be the thing that China could have, and now they're saying, we'd rather not have that.
Also, what was the B20s?
The H20, like, there was kind of back and forth, but they were going to let them, and now they're like, maybe we don't want that. And maybe that was I didn't have that story. That's in the business section.
We have the business section about some
I was
other.
going to lead into the Huawei one, but instead, let's talk about Japan, who is apparently learning from all the other governments on how to lock down their people.
In Japan, AI-powered policing to thwart the quote-unquote lone wolf threats sparks civil liberties concerns. There's enough that leaked out of this plan from Japan that now it starts to make sense why we need end-to-end surveillance, why we must defeat all the encryption, is because you need to feed that AI machine all of our unencrypted communications. It needs to be trawling through our phones 24/7 to make sure that all of us are not lone wolves. Because surely that level of invasion will be worth it.
And the Japanese society is so well behaved. They don't really have a lot of these instances. Now, they do have the guy that assassinated Shinzo Abe.
Yeah.
Was that last year, the year before?
I think last
Whatever.
year.
But that wasn't really anger at the government. That guy was upset because Shinzo Abe was, I guess he was advertising some kind of like multi-level marketing type of deal. And that guy's mom had lost her life savings to it.
Wow.
So it was personal. But that's the one that they keep using to, it's like, oh no, these people might be out there. Critics of this also pointed out, hey, if it's a lone wolf, why would they be talking to anybody about it?
They're talking to a chat bot about it.
They're worried that all the wolves are going to band together is what they're afraid of.
That does seem to happen on the internet.
I really think that everybody should read the, I think it was a paper or something where the gist of it was the optimal amount of fraud in a system is not zero. Because you end up with some really absurd things if you're constantly like, we must have zero fraud, there must be zero crime. And it's like, if you do that, you end up just crushing everything into dust.
Because human nature is to find the shortcut.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how we work. And the locking down of the internet is something that goes on a lot in the Middle East. Surprisingly, this is the first time, well, not the first time, but this is the most extreme time that the Taliban has ever done it.
Taliban leader bans Wi-Fi in an Afghan province to quote-unquote prevent immorality.
I read this headline earlier and I read it as immortality and I was like, huh?
This must be the Michigan lawmakers' cousins, because now they have this in common.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because I wonder if Ted Cruz is involved here, because the wireless carriers still get to provide their internet. It's only cable. It's interesting because the AP, and this must have been written by somebody in the Middle East, they used interchangeably fiber, cable, and Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird, but I take it to mean any kind of landline that's feeding Wi-Fi. Oh, what about a hotspot? Where does that land?
That's not immoral.
Don't tell the Taliban leaders about hotspots.
Shut up! What are you doing?
And another thing that might stymie some of these Middle Eastern countries is this, because their asymmetric warfare might get dialed down a little bit. Usually they can spend a little bit of money to make the enemy spend a lot of money, but maybe not anymore.
Laser-based iron beam interception system declared operational. So this is going to shoot things in the air with lasers, more than one, and that should be a really amazing drone defense, because speed of light, power of lasers, blah, blah, blah. Haven't seen it in operation, though.
Well, they have, because they tested it, but not real world. They renamed it to this guy's name. This is some guy who died. His dad created this thing or worked on it. I don't remember his name. This is the testing, so I guess it's hard to photograph.
Be a cool album cover.
What with a weapon being based entirely on photons and all.
Yeah. Well, so that doesn't take down anything like a cruise missile, but a rocket or probably a drone, you don't have to waste the $250,000 of my money. That's kind of nice.
Gee, that makes me feel good about everything that's happening over there.
And when it comes to turning off Wi-Fi, the Taliban's got nothing on this African nation.
Equatorial Guinea forces year-long internet outage for island that protested construction company. So it's still going. A bunch of the islanders were complaining that their food was being fouled and their fishing spots weren't working. And the government said, do you have any idea how much money they're giving us? Shut up.
Yeah, because they are using explosives to pull rocks out of a quarry, which they say is destroying the groundwater. This is the little island, and this is Equatorial Guinea. So the island is kind of like, they never give us anything. They treat us like, second-class citizens. There's 5,000 people on that island.
It said the majority of people in this nation are extremely poor, except for the officials and their families.
How did they ever get internet in the first place, I wonder? You think there's a cable running out there?
Probably.
And this is sad because when it comes to how do you avoid all this surveillance, right? There's a couple of names that seem to fight the good fight, but then you hear these stories.
Proton Mail suspended journalist accounts at the request of Cybersecurity Agency. And the Intercept, I was like, oh, which cybersecurity agency? And Proton Mail declined to name them. Proton Mail also reinstated the journalist accounts after they started getting a lot of scrutiny.
But it was in South Korea, so how many cybersecurity agencies are there in South Korea? Probably narrow it down. But it didn't seem like they pushed back at all. They were just like, yeah, we'll turn these off. And these guys had proof of what they were saying. They were exposing bad cybersecurity somewhere. And they were releasing the proof through this email address. And they were asking people to reach out. Hey, here's a safe email address where you can whistleblow on this. Turned it right off. They gave it back to them, but clearly they didn't want to. And I love when you can prove security through a court case. I remember, I don't know if they're still like that, but private internet access, the VPN, went to court. And they're like, you will show us the logs. And they're like, no, we don't keep them. Sorry. That's like, wow, that's a perfect commercial for private internet access. Well, now you got this.
White House officials reportedly frustrated by Anthropic's law enforcement AI limits. It's like, we don't have that. You can't have that. We don't record that. That is encouraging to see, but also you that are watching this program, please pay attention because a terribleness is being constructed around us with this.
Now, this is probably not going to last forever.
Yeah.
But it also points out, if they're only frustrated with Anthropic, what does that tell you about the other ones?
It is kind of wild how the argument from the administration is always, oh, but we get this from someone else. And it's like, but they're like a player that doesn't matter in the market. And it's like, they're giving us what we need. You should give us what we need. And judges will rely on that. Judges will look at that and say, oh, clearly it's technically possible because X. And it's like, you don't understand. We need end-to-end encryption. We should have end-to-end encryption. It's like, well, they're not doing end-to-end encryption and they're fine. Yeah, they're fine until they're not.
And speaking of what people need, I think the number one complaint from last week, can you guess what it is? What was missing?
Oh.
Us?
Yeah, just
Well,
in general.
specifically,